This is the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by the United States Air Force. Now, here's your host, Brandon Wirth.
Hello and welcome everybody into the West Michigan Sports Show presented by the Car Center in Rogers Heights. Brandon Wirth joining you here live on this Saturday. Thanks for all that are tuning in, whether you're on WBRN.com, the WBRN mobile app, or on air with us on 96.5, 107.7 FM, or 1460. Got a great episode for you here today as we'll be getting into the recap of all of our local scores around the area, as well as we'll get into a fun top 5 segment here. Been tasked with giving 5 activities that can help yourself as an athlete that involve sports without it being an MHSAA sanctioned sport. It's a really unique topic. Excited to get into that. We'll get over there in the second half of the show. If you miss out on any of these episodes, be sure to go online so that you can catch up with all the episodes anytime, anywhere on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more, as well as you can go online, WBRN.com, under the podcast tab, and you can find all the episodes that we have recorded, all the great interviews, all the great top 5 segments, debate segments, talk show talk, and more here on this show. Got exciting stuff coming as well. Over with the rundown, you can get your local sports fix as well. In-depth analysis, myself, Joe Nagy, covering basketball this winter. You can find that on Big Country 100.9's YouTube channel, which that show is also taking off, as well as Behind the Bulldogs, which you might have heard just a little while ago. Ferris State Sports Talk. Talking with coaches, talking with players, learning what life is like as a Bulldog behind closed doors. Really cool interviews. Recently got with Caden Blanchard of Ferris State Women's Basketball, as well as many of the other coaches and players here from our winter sports, as we'll slowly transition into spring now as the sun shining outside. What a beautiful day we have here, and especially this weekend in the 50s and 60s with the sun. The sun exists. How about that? Certainly a really cool weekend. So get outside, enjoy yourselves here this weekend, and for especially college student friends out there listening, it's spring break, y'all. Go enjoy yourself, but do it responsibly as well. We want to see you back on campus here in a week from now. But before we get into the local sports score recap, we want to thank our sponsors for their support of this show, and especially for Car Center that have now taken over as the primary sponsor of this show. Big thanks to them, as well as the United States Air Force for previously sponsoring this show, as well as our great friends at Johnson's Automotive Repair, the Schuberg Insurance Agency, Quality Car and Truck Repair, Ultra Care Big Rapids, Paris Auto Sales and Service of Big Rapids, Moto, the McCoskey Transit Authority, and the McCoskey Career Center Misiola Tech. Thank you for your support of the West Michigan Sports Show. Without further ado, we'll get right into it. Basketball, postseason, girls and boys, is upon us, and we got a lot of scores to recap for you. So we'll get right into it, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Starting back February 23rd. For those that don't have a calendar in front of you, that was last Friday for your information. Over on the boys' side, we had one lone contest. It was a makeup from earlier this year. Central Montcalm holds off Midland Calvary Baptist 63-45. Hornets get the win on the road in Midland. On the girls' side, we had our regular season finale in CSAA action. Big Rapids dominates Tri-County at home 62-27, the score in that game, as well as Kent City defeats Lakeview 57-30, the final score there. Newaygo takes down Chip Hills on the road. The Lions win that one 54-24. And then we had the two exciting games, the ones that meant everything in the CSAA tournament. Reed City beat Central Montcalm in a nail-biter on the road in Stanton, 42-41. Coyotes win over the Hornets. And the thriller we were all waiting for, the decider for the regular season conference championship. The Mohawks win it on the road against the Tigers of Grant 64-57 in overtime as Coach Raven's squad seals a CSA regular season title. And it was certainly a great basketball game nonetheless from what I heard from my sources. Then we get into boys basketball districts. Boy, it was an absolute thriller in District 35. We got to cover that one on the air on WBRN.com. Thanks for all those that tuned into those broadcasts for both Big Rapids and Reed City. It was an unfortunate early exit for the Cardinals this year. They fell to the host Mariners 45-32. Just the worst time to have their worst game of the year. It really was. And Manistee was able to move on, and it was a tough one for Big Rapids. But still, tournament championship, conference back-to-back, certainly a good good achievement for that team for how well they played this year. So hats off to them. Saginaw Swan Valley takes out Central Montcalm in District 40 quarterfinal, 78-49, as well as in District 41. It was Newaygo over Tri-County in the quarterfinal, a really highly contested matchup between two CSAA teams, 66-62, and former CSAA foe in that fellow district quarterfinal on the other side of the bracket. Fremont takes out Kent City 65-43. District 72, Morley Stanwood holds off the Wildcats of Lakeview 54-36 in that basketball game, as well as one lone girls matchup to finish out the regular season. The Vikings fall to Blanchard Montebello 57-34. Your score there, wrapping up February 26th action. Over to February 28th, this was Wednesday in Medford District semifinal round. Reed City comes back, beats Hart in the second half, 57-42. They would advance to the district final game, which we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Clare Pioneers knock out the Chip Hills Warriors 50-38. They're in District 36 semifinal action. And the Battle of M37 lived up to the hype once again. This time, Newaygo gets the best of Grant the third time around, 61-57 to advance to that district final game, as well as Morley Stanwood could not compete with Ithaca as the Yellow Jackets knock out the Mohawks 50-28, as well as White Cloud advance, beating the Ravenna Bulldogs 53-50 in District 74 action, as well as another CSA crossover in girls hoops. The lone matchup on the Wednesday was Tri-County over Chip Hills 54-48. March 1st, we'll get to the girls action as well here in just a second. For those that might say, whoa, you missed February 27th and you missed February 29th. Don't worry, we'll get back to that here. This is just the order of operations. We have it listed here. March 1st, district final action from last night, and it was certainly a couple of really close basketball games. The first one, North Muskegon beats White Cloud for the second time this year. They win District 74, 54-39, your final score in that one. A really good season for Coach Jones and the Indians. Just phenomenal what they've done to turn that program around the last couple of years, as well as Fremont pulls off the miraculous upset. They win the entire District 41 bracket at home, 50-45, despite entering as, I believe, the 4th or 5th seed in the tournament. So congratulations to Fremont. A great season, though, nonetheless, from Newaygo. They really peaked at the right time for this March Madness postseason play for the run that they made, as well as the last one, the one that I was fortunate enough to call last night. It was in a fantastic basketball game. Both teams played their hearts out. Ludington knocks out Reed City in the District 35 final, 41-34, a defensive slugfest there from Manistee. And it was a great season from Reed City, being able to call them as a alma mater. Call for them, I should say, over the radio was fantastic. That team really played their guts out. They played such a hard basketball game. Ludington just got them at the end with a little bit of momentum, as they love to use, or sudden show. Certainly one of the best teams that I've seen that knows how to just corral and capture momentum in critical parts of the ball game. But still, great season nonetheless. Ludington will move on to play Clare in that Regional 9 semifinal game that will be held in Big Rapids on Tuesday. So if you're looking for some local basketball, you can go on over to Big Rapids at Cardinal Arena and see those two teams face off. Should be a fun matchup. Now we go back to February 27th for girls action in the CSAA tournament. We'll start with some of the crossover games in the lower portions of the consolation brackets. Big Rapids dominates Lakeview at home 56-35, the final score there. Central Montcalm holds off Newaygo on the road, 40-37. The Hornets beat the hosting Lions, as well as White Cloud holds off Chip Hills 32-22 there from White Cloud. Now, semifinal matchups, two really good ones. Kent City holds off Grant at home, 46-35, as well as Morley Stanwood holds off Reed City in what was a really close matchup there in Morley, 53-49. Your final score there. Now, to February 29th, we'll waste no time. Right to the final. The grand champion of the CSA Conference Tournament this year, the Kent City Eagles, defeat Morley Stanwood 45-33 at Morley. Big win for Kent City. What an absolute run. 13 in a row to win and to finish the regular season. Hats off to their coaching staff and the work that they've done. Consolation game, Grant holds off Reed City and an absolute nail-biter, 41-40. That final score. The Tigers to get that third place spot in the CSA tournament. Big Rapids defeats Central Montcalm at home in another CSA crossover event, 53-34, as well as Tri-County beats White Cloud at White Cloud 37-27. And finally, Newaygo holds off Lakeview 47-37, your final score to wrap up the local sports scoreboard here from this past week. What an exciting week it was of basketball. Phenomenal display of postseason basketball. We can't wait to see the girls district tournament, which will begin next week. There's going to be some fun matchups there. Reed City, Big Rapids, round 1 right out of the gate. That's going to be a fun one to watch, as well as we'll see some other CSAA teams will be taking place in, or really in-depth battle over there for District 41. That one should be fun. We'll have some of those listings over the weekend. You can find it along on BigRapidsDailyNews.com for all of those opening district games, where, when, and how that you can follow along with some of those games. We'll have a whole article posted likely on Sunday, so you can stay tuned with that, as well as subscribe to Big Rapids Daily News online on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter/X, so you don't miss out on any of those stories. We'll get you all the details to cover the local sports as well here for all the upcoming games in district play and beyond, if we have local teams that make it past the district round, which we certainly hope to do so. We're going to take a break here. We'll pay some bills, and we'll bring it back with a second half. Top 5 activities for athletes to do to improve their athletic endeavors. It's a unique list and one that might create controversy. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the West Michigan Sports Show right here on News Radio WBRN. We return here to the West Michigan Sports Show presented by the Car Center in Big Rapids. Many people probably wondering, wait, you didn't get any wrestling scores in. That's because they are still going on right now at Ford Field, so we'll cover that on next week's show, all the in-depth results there from Ford Field, as well as all the individual competitors from the CSA in the local area. We'll get to that here on next week's show. So if you're wondering why we missed wrestling, we didn't miss it. It's just not over yet, so we don't have anything to recap yet. So plenty of local athletes going into day 2 competing, looking to get podium finishes and trying to finish their seasons on a high note. Some of them seniors, their final seasons. And so we'll get to that here on next week's show. It's been a really fun season of winter sports nonetheless here. Not to get us too far off track, but it has been absolutely incredible to see a lot of these incredible performances from these seniors, especially for a lot of them finishing out their campaigns in sports altogether, because many of them go into college for other reasons, which we celebrate just as much as the ones going to college for athletics. There's certainly a need for that to be celebrated as well. We kind of touched that in last week's episode, so if you want to take a listen, you can find that in the feed below, talking about the current state of how we celebrate athletes going to college and why for sometimes it's the wrong reasons, and that's kind of where the decision process goes within each individual athlete. But we dove into that. You can find that episode wherever you get this podcast or this show live over the airwaves. You can find online WBRN.com as well. So today we return with one of the fan favorites, the top 5. This is a really unique idea. I was tasked with putting 5 sports together that can improve your athletic endeavors, but they can't be sanctioned sports by the MHSAA. Really unique list, and I wanted to put that spin on it, that last part, that it can't be an MHSAA sport, because we can say, oh, you play baseball? Well, go play basketball because it can help you with your hand-eye coordination, and so on and so forth, right? Like you could obviously make those translations pretty easy from sport to sport, but I was looking even deeper, more unique sports that maybe you have never thought of as far as something that you might have enjoyed as a hobby, like playing with friends and stuff, and might be like, oh yeah, it's a cool casual sport. But the fact that it has actual impact and actual positive reinforcement for your athleticism, your physique of muscles, and using and being able to build yourself and strength-wise, that kind of taking that into perspective might be different for a majority of you that were looking at these sports and saying, oh, like I can get legitimate benefit from this little hobby sport that will help me in whatever sport that I desire to get better at. So very unique top 5 list. We bring it back. We'll get to interviews as well coming up here on the next couple of weeks with some coaches and players ahead of the spring action and to wrap up the winter action as well. So don't worry, we're getting back to it, but we're back. We had to bring it back. It was requested. So here we go. Top 5, cue the music of sports that will help you, hobby sports that is, that can help you in your athletic endeavors, and we'll give the reasons why. Number 5 on my list. It is a frisbee sport. No, it is not ultimate frisbee. It is one you can play in your backyard with simply 2 barrels and an ultimate disc. It's Can Jam. It is a interesting sport, to say the least. I've played plenty of Can Jam during my early years of life. It is a fun sport. It is very competitive. And the biggest thing you're probably wondering, like, Can jam, you don't move around very much. You're kind of throwing a disc, trying to land it into a barrel. Like, what are the benefits of can jam? The two biggest ones that I found, and this is by both virtue of going back to the when I played it and remembering what as far as was the keys to be able to be successful and what was really kind of the benefits, looking at some health studies online. Can jam, number one, helps you with consistency. You have to be in teamwork with a partner, which involves communication and those sort of things too, which tie in. But the consistency that you have to throw to be able to put it on the money each and every time to help out your teammates so that they can slam it home, get yourself some points each and every possession back and forth. And you have to be consistent. You can't necessarily lose your edge when it comes to being able to put it on target. So that also involves precision, being able to hit the same spot each and every time, right? So those mental and physical tools as well. Upper body, of course, you can use that as well, but it's not necessarily as strenuous of an upper body activity as for, say, weightlifting, or if you're moving couches and so on and so forth in your home. But can jam, it provides that precision. It provides that consistency, muscle flexibility as well. Just because you're throwing a Frisbee doesn't mean you don't have any technique with it. So using your arms, using your legs, a transfer of energy, those are obviously some things that go along with it. But it requires some fitness as well. Obviously, you move around a little bit, especially if you're the one being thrown to. So quick feet agility, also improves when you play this game. So can jam comes in at number 5, a very unique game, one that you can find at Dunham's or Meijer for a couple bucks. So not necessarily $5, but more along the lines of $25 to $50. But it's a very fun game, and you can virtually take it anywhere. So it's really cool. Can jam coming in at number 5. Number 4 on my list, one of my personal favorites, and not just because I'm a fisherman at heart during my off time, but kayaking is number 4 on my list. And you're probably thinking, wait, why'd you mention kayaking with fishing? Well, I like kayak fishing. There you go. So put 2 and 2 together. But how does kayaking help with sports? You can probably guess the number 1, upper body strength. Being able to propel your vessel across the water with the paddles requires a lot of upper traps in your back as well, as generally your shoulders as well. You don't want to strain too much on your shoulders when it comes to technique with your arms. You don't want to be too far out and cockeyed with your elbows. Otherwise, then you're going to have shoulder damage later on from kayaking at an extreme sport. But if you do it right, it will certainly help your upper body strength. It also helps your core because you have to balance in a kayak. Because if you don't, you're under the water. So having to have that core strength to keep yourself balanced, especially when you're going through rapids a little bit or avoiding rocks, for example. If you're going down the river, waves, if you're going on a lake that's kind of busy with boat traffic. So kayaking is really huge, and it especially is a very less stress sport. It's not necessarily in competition like some of the other ones we'll get to on this list as well, but it really helps, and it helps your strength, endurance of balance and coordination, and it's just really a good activity that involves less stress, not on a competitive surface. And it also, you can supplement it with, just enjoying time in the lake. You could go fishing with kayaking, or you could just go out and speed run and see how fast you can move that vessel across the lake, and you can race your friends if you really just are missing that competitive edge. So number 4 on my list, kayaking as a hobby sport that can improve your athletic endeavors. Number 3 on my list, ping pong, or also known as table tennis, involves a lot of hand-eye coordination, and that's for certain. It's a very fast-paced game for a lot of those that are at the advanced, past the novice level of skill. But it also, one of my personal favorite attributes that it helps with is patience. Ping pong can be so fast, you are already anticipating the next hit, but you have to be able to actually know where the ball is going to be hit from by your opponent. So that's why it involves a lot of patience. And I think that's a really cool way to be able to do it, because it's such a competitive sport that it really kind of puts you into that competition mindset immediately. But you kind of have to refrain. You have to really kind of tunnel yourself out vision-wise, and you have to see what your opponent is doing, right? So, and it also, one of the biggest things too, reflexes, those quick twitch muscles are certainly important, because the game is so close to you and it's so fast. As far as tempo goes, with ping pong, you have to be able to react to your opponent, especially on a fast hit, or they're trying to slam it across the table to seal a point. You're going to have to move your feet. You're going to have to shuffle your hands. And that reflexes time, and those quick twitch muscles certainly get a benefit there. So ping pong, a competitive sport that can help playing with your friends for whatever sport endeavor that you choose to pursue. Number 2 on my list, this one might be interesting. I might get some pushback from this, but here's what it is. Trampoline jumping. Now, this is a personal favorite hobby of mine as a kid, and it even went all the way through to the point where I was making YouTube videos on through COVID relating to this topic. But because it's so fun, it is so fun to go out, jump on a trampoline, and just kind of revisit those memories as a kid. Now, you're probably thinking, what in the world does a college athlete or a high school athlete benefit from a trampoline park? Well, lower body explosiveness is the number one thing that I firmly believe as a kid. Jumping on a trampoline helped me be able to jump higher. It helped me be able to be more explosive with my legs despite not having as much muscle mass and just, mass in general, because obviously I'm a skinny runner kid in college. But I think that was the biggest thing that helped me along the way, is being able to learn that explosiveness when it comes down to it. And you don't have to necessarily go to a trampoline park. You can have a trampoline in your backyard or whatever, but trampoline parks are just as fun too, because you have that ability to go do some other fun stuff, throw down some nasty dunks on 12-foot rims. You can go into the foam pit, try all these cool tricks, but it's all helping you at the end of the day. It also helps you. It really does a good job of releasing stress as well. And I think the biggest thing about being able to do the jumping and doing the activities is you're able to also use different muscles. And I think that's the biggest part of it. They're all working in conjunction together. Your landing impact, when you land back down, being able to improve your ankle mobility, being able to improve your knees when it comes down to it. Now, obviously, too much could hurt your knees over time, but being able to learn how to jump properly, you're not locking your legs, for example, and doing those sort of things, landing tricks, it all can help with that. So trampoline park, trampoline jumping, number 2 on my list, probably the most unique one out there on the list. Number 1, you'll know exactly when you hear it, but this is probably not one you're expecting at number 1. It's not a sport that involves physical activity. It does not involve any sort of movement. It does not involve any sort of physical exertion besides simply putting one hand and moving it 2 inches up on a table. This sport is chess. Yes, thinking ahead, mental strategy. It doesn't matter what athlete you are in size and shape, but with chess, it's an even playing field because it's a game of the mind. Thinking ahead, where your opponent's going strategy-wise. It is a great, great game that can improve everything when it comes to the way that you think during competition, during a game. And it really is a great sport for everybody to enjoy, to be able to really sharpen your mind going forward, no matter if you're going into athletics further on or just in life in general. Thinking ahead, thinking what your opponent's going to do next, looking at what is ahead in the future before you can see it in front of itself. Chess, number 1 on my list of unique hobby sports that will help improve you as an athlete. That's all the time we have today. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. You can leave a comment on WBRN.com. Tell me what you think of the list and what we should do next. But until next time, Brandon Wirth signing off here on the West Michigan Sports Show. We'll see you later, everyone.